The next speaker will be Carl Harrington, who is the president of IWMF. IWMF is a patient-founded and patient-led organization, and I think they have a beautiful, very simple mission statement to support all patients with Waldenström's while advancing the search for a cure. So please, Carl, you can advance the slide.
Well, good morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm Carl Harrington. I'm president of the IWMF, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the IWMF and our partner Hematon, welcome to Amsterdam and the IWW, the International Doctor-Patient Forum. Now, do any of you have one of these? Have one of these? If you have one of these, how about turning it off or putting it on silent or vibrate so that it doesn't ring? It can ring while I'm talking, but you really don't want it to ring when one of the doctors is talking. Okay, now this is the most important thing I'm going to say. So I want to make sure everybody's paying attention. Okay, ready? Okay. The toiletten are out that way. The toilets, the water closet, whatever you want to call it. When your coffee kicks in, they're out that door. You remember the front door you came in? Just before you get to the front door, there's a left turn down 4 steps. That's where they are. So if you need to know, that's where you go. Now, as you can see, we've got slides. As you'll see soon, we have slides in Dutch on one side and slides in English on the other side. Does anybody need to move? You're all comfortable where you are? Okay. You're sure? All right, the first thing I need to do is thank the companies who provided the financial support for today's meeting. As you can see, we have support from Gilead, from Idera, and from Janssen. Each of these companies provided financial support, and this part I have to say very carefully in case there are any lawyers in the room. None of them have influenced the agenda of any portion of the EdForum's content in any way. But let's say thank you with a round of applause to these companies for their support. And you also see one other group up there, Dana-Farber, and you heard that Dana-Farber is the Cancer Institute in the U.S. that Steve Treon and Chris Patterson from. They are responsible for this meeting room. They provided this meeting room at a bargain rate. This is exactly where IWWM9 was all this week. So we get it for basically almost free. And all the doctors are provided by them, again, for free. I'll tell you more about that later. Now, what I want to do now is invite you to do a little, whenever I show up at a meeting like this, I want to know who's here and who's not. So we're going to do a little audience exercise now, okay? And to do that, you're going to have to look around. And I want to make sure that nobody sprains their neck, hurts their neck. So first you have to join me in exercising. So we're going to do a few head rolls, okay, like this. Okay, do it the other way. Up and down and back, okay. Now, what I'm going to do then is also talk to you about what to expect for the rest of the day and deliver one clear message, but I'll do that in a minute. Now, you're all going to have to stand up. So like clear your lap so you're able to stand up. You all stand up. Nobody's going to be standing up for more than a minute or so. And then you'll be looking around. So if you're a caregiver, if that means you do not have WM, but your spouse or friend or someone else does, if you're a caregiver, even if you're a doctor, please stand up. Okay, let's give these people a round of applause. Okay, you guys can sit back down. Now, would all the WM patients, if you have Waldenström's, you should know who you are. If you have Waldenström's, stand up. Okay, give them a round of applause. Okay, stay standing. Stay standing for just a couple minutes. When I was first diagnosed in 2006, probably like a lot of you, I was told I had 3 to 5 years to live. That was pretty scary. I was feeling very afraid and very alone. And I imagine you were too. Now, with all the WM patients who were diagnosed in the last 5 years, sit down. If you were diagnosed before then, stay standing. So last 5 years, sit down. Okay, so now all you guys, if you're in between, you can do whatever you want. Now all you guys that just sat down, look around. Look at the people that are still standing. You want to make friends with those people. You want to find out what they're doing, but you also want to get their experience. They've been down the path that you're headed down. So you want to reach out to them and get their experience. And I'm still standing. I was diagnosed 10 years ago. Now I'm going to try something. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. If you were diagnosed this century, sit down. If you were diagnosed before the year 2000, stay standing. Okay, we got one. Now, and another over here. Now, he doesn't look dead, does he? In the United States, when I did that recently, we had 300 people in the meeting, and I think we had 20 or 25 people standing. So this journey could go on for a long time, and I hope it goes on for a long time for each and every one of you. All right. Now that you know what's here, that doesn't help me at all when I look at that. Now that you know who's here, let me just tell you a little bit about what to expect. You all got one of these when you came in. Okay, so pick it up. And if you haven't looked in there, there's a few things that you might want to look at. First, there's the agenda. So you'll know exactly what's going to happen today, when, and where. You already know the most important thing, where the bathroom is. But there will also be lunch. Lunch will be upstairs. There will be a break in the afternoon upstairs. There's a beautiful balcony that I can see that you can't see that you'll be having lunch at. You'll also see there's a list of all of the doctors that are presenting today. And it's an incredible list of very learned, special people. And here's the secret. Do you want to know how much we pay for these people? Nothing. Zero, nada, nilch, rien. Not a thing. All these people are donating their time to come and help educate you because they genuinely care about you and your disease and your health. All we do is we pay their travel expenses. I can lose myself very easily here. There's also, see this little card? Everybody got one of these little cards? It's in Dutch and it's also in English. This afternoon there's an Ask a Doctor session, and anytime you have a question during the day, write it down in Dutch, write it down in English. Do not write it down in Croatian. We don't know how to read that, but write it down in whatever language is comfortable for you, and Dr. Kyle will pick up some of these questions during this afternoon. There are also evaluation forms. If you could please fill out the evaluation forms. Again, they're in English and they're in Dutch. Fill those out because you'll tell us how to make the next one of these better, and that's very important. You also see in there that each one of you has gotten a copy of the torch. If you don't already get this, sign up to get it. Everything the IWMF does is free. We don't charge for anything. We wish you would give us a donation, but we don't have to. Everything we do is absolutely free. Okay, so now you know sort of what's going to happen today and who's here. Let's move on. You may not be able to read that. What it says in English is, you have a very hard to pronounce, actually you have a very hard to remember disease. When I was diagnosed, it was certainly hard to remember and really hard to pronounce our disease. And hopefully you've now learned how to pronounce the disease. Oh, I've left out one other thing. In your packet, there's information about something called Whimsical. Whimsical is a database that the Australians, we're working with the Australians to create, where we're creating a worldwide database of patient information. Take a look at that sheet and go on the website and I encourage you to enter your information. And what we're trying to do is first get to 100 and then eventually get to 1,000 patients around the globe who have entered their information. I did it, so it can't be very hard. Now I want to move on I told you that I want to move on to the fourth message, and that message is you are not alone. And I want to talk to you today about two numbers. The first number is 8,000, and the second number is 10 million. So keep those in mind, and we'll move on. Just 1 second. Here's our vision. Dr. Kirsten just referenced this. Our vision is to support everyone affected by Waldenstrom's while we advance the search for a cure. By support, what we mean is we do two things. We do education and we do emotional support. And by everyone, we mean everyone. We don't care whether that person is a caregiver in Indiana or a patient in India. We don't care if it's a caregiver in London, a patient in London, Ontario, or a new hematologist in London, Connecticut. We want to make sure that we support everyone who's affected by our disease. And we do that in two ways. We do it through education, and we do it through support. But do you know who this guy is? That's Arnie Smokler. It's not Dr. Waldenstrom. That's Arnie Smokler. He founded the IWMF in 1994, and there were 30 people in that organization at that time. Now, there's more. Watch. Now we have over 8,137 people, the last count, in over 70 countries around the globe. So if you're ever feeling alone, you are not alone. Here's what we did. I said before we did two things, education and emotional support. On the educational front, we provide support groups. Worldwide, we have over 55 support groups. They meet over 200 times a year, where you get together with people just like you, sometimes with doctors to presenting information, sometimes just to talk. And this is a great resource. We also have IWMF Talk. If you don't want to go to a meeting, you can sit at home and type on your computer and talk to other people who've got that experience that you're looking for. Somebody who might have already had, say, plasmapheresis, and you want to know what it's like before you have that. If you don't want to do that, we have lifelines, and these are in various countries too, where you can call on the phone and talk to one person, one-on-one, about a specific thing. Say you're about to take Rituxan, and you want to know what that's about. You can call someone and talk to that person one-on-one. And we also have, of course, Facebook pages, and we tweet and all those sorts of things that all those young kids do. And just to go on, you're definitely not alone, because we also have educational forums just like this one. This year around the globe, over 800 WMers just like you, and some of you have been to more than one of these, have been to the US, Canada, Germany, Belgium, France, Italy, and now here in Amsterdam. We also have our website, which is translated in 55 languages. So if you go to the top of our webpage, IWMF.com, there's a little Google button up there. It's not perfect, but it will translate into 58 languages, including Croatian, which I mentioned before. And of course, we have news that comes out to you about anything that's important that happens in our world. And you can see the rest of the information up there. But the point of this is just that you're not alone, that there are resources out there that we're providing to support you. And we're not alone. I'm not going to read those up there, but the point is there are dozens of organizations that we've reached out to try to make sure our money goes further by tapping into their resources. And you can see some of those, including Hematon. And here's some more. So there's a whole bunch of people that we are reaching out to try to make sure that we can provide the best possible service at the lowest possible cost. Because all of the IWMF board, including myself, are all volunteers. All of us get this much in terms of our payment. And I said before, I wanted to talk to you about $10 million. $10 million is the amount of research that we've funded since 1999. $10 million that supported all the research that helped create things like the MYD88 mutation that has helped lead to the Imbruvica or ibrutinib. That was all funded by you, patients just like you around the globe who've given money to us and asked us to please spend it in the best possible way to develop research. And with that, what we've done is we've set up, again, reaching out to one of those partner organizations, in this case, the Lymphoma and LLS, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Foundation. We reached out to them and have worked with them to develop a request for proposals. And now I'm going to turn it over to my good friend and the vice president of the IWMF research to talk to you about the research that we've been doing and why that's important as we try to advance the search for a cure. Thank you.